Hi, Guardian Spice.
Oh, is that really? We're doing the yelling, the shout thing.
Yep, we're doing the shouty thing. Not
So-
shout out of excitement, but shout out of what the fuckery.
Hatred and rage. So just a little disclaimer. Red is put his whole foot in his mouth
Sorry.
because me and David were correct all along about what we're about to talk about. So I'm just gonna gloat a bit on how me and David were right. Red is kind of joining us in the why we always bash on Crunchyroll. It's no secret that we're not against Crunchyroll, but we
We call them out when we see fuckery. And,
yes.
I'm all for creativity. I'm going to say that right now. I'm all for creativity. I applaud them for creating something they want to do. But their way of selling this show is beyond cringe.
I'm just gonna jump right into it. It's not even a cringe issue to me. Like when you say our writer's room is 100% female, and you call it out like that's such a progressive thing. My thing is and will always be take the script and flip it. So if you had a commercial with let's say, they were like, and our writer's room is 100% male. Can you even imagine the fucking the internet meltdown if they said that?
Wow, such sexism. Oh my god.
Yeah. So it just comes down to basic hypocrisy. Like I don't care about the show. It looks okay. It kind of looks like a very standard formula, but like
it's Steven Universe meets Madoka Magica meets Little Witch Academia.
What I will say about it is I think that because like some things from the video I respected. I liked that they went into how they're sticking with 2D animation and like the old school style of like 2D animation and drawing, and how they're
it's not Cal Arts.
They're letting them make the show really weird and like interesting and unique. That sounds cool. But I just got to say that like when you so clearly are, I think that the best way I've heard it described is it seems like they're pushing an agenda first, making a show second.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even in the video itself, one of the people said, "My whole career has led up to this, making a writer's room 100." Like that was their first goal, not to make a show. So that means you didn't hire the best writers for the job. You didn't go on and say, "All right, who is the most qualified for this job?" No, you specifically looked for women and specifically pushed out men. That is literally what you did. There's no way by chance you just happened to come across that was your goal. That was your end goal. You had a piece of paper that said goal 100% writer women.
Yep. And there's nothing wrong with hiring women if they're qualified to do the job. There's nothing wrong with hiring men if they're qualified to do the job. There's nothing wrong with hiring trans people if they are qualified to do the job.
I want to clarify, too. Like, I'm never the kind of person who's like, you need exactly 50-50. No. Just hire, like, a natural goddamn human being. So, like, if it was 90% women, 10% guys, if it was 10% women, 90% guys, if it was 70-30, fine. That's actually a natural number that you could come across without fuckery. If you are 100% woman in the writer's room, that means to me that you have specifically pushed out men. Like, specifically. That's my main issue with this entire thing, honestly.
And the biggest, because I've watched multiple videos on it from different YouTubers, and the biggest thing that I've noticed from watching the video, it's just like the whole point of the trailer, they barely talk about the actual show at all. It was just them wanting about how diverse their cast is and how many women they have.
And here's what you know what it immediately felt like to me, Thurman. Like it feels like a play. Like, look at us, look at how diverse we are, look at how progressive. Clap, everybody clap. And by the way, I want to clarify before anyone thinks that I'm like some horrible straight white male. I am about as progressive as you can get. I literally donated my own money to like the progressive candidates here. I'm a big follower of Young Turks, Jimmy Dore. I am a huge progressive left, healthcare for all, shit like that. But what I don't like is identity politics. Clutters. Hold on, Thurman. Identity politics clutters actual issues. I don't give a fuck what your label is. I don't care who you want to fuck at night. I don't care whether you have a dick or a pussy. I don't care. Make the goddamn show. You know what I mean? Who cares? By the way, we're at the point now where the people that are supposed to be the ones where it's like gender doesn't matter, they care more about gender than the people that don't. They're the ones that are making it a big issue. These people that are like, you are the ones constantly talking about it, bringing it up. I follow the Morgan Freeman way of doing this. There's a very famous interview with Morgan Freeman where he's asking him about Black History Month. And he's like, I don't want a Black History Month. Do you want a White History Month? Are you going to condemn all of, or like contain all of my fucking history into 1 month? No. I'm going to stop referring to you as a white man, and I'd like you to stop referring to me as a black man. I think it's the same thing should go for sexuality, same thing should go for genders.
Right.
Labels are just pointless ways to put us into these groups and make us fight. So that's my main thing.
So I found this quote, on the actual video, and let me live that up. Diversity for the sake of diversity is not a selling point. Be you white, black, Asian, LGBTQ, male, female, or whatever diversity demo that that should not be your only selling point for the show. Your selling point should be the show's merits themselves, the stories, the characters, backgrounds, motivations, what a normal series does during promotional periods. But here we are using identity politics, feminist agendas, screaming diversity for the sake of diversity. I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. And this is the state of every show, really. Like, look at Steven Universe. It does it, but it does it well. Rick and Morty added female writers to the fan base, lashed back, and it's like, once they added women writers, it sucked.
And by the way, just so you know that we are fair, when Rick and Morty fans were bitching about women writers, we were one of the first people to come on here and be like, that's stupid, to be angry about that. Like, we defended the women writers, and we're like, are you kidding me? That's some petty shit.
Like some of the female writers written episodes were some of the better episodes of that season.
It's crazy.
What annoys me about this, like, you should not attack it because it's women writing it. You should be attacking it because they pushed out, the wonderful fact that they've pushed this agenda as their selling point. They would have made made the writing room a separate trailer. I saw a video on Twitter today.
Yeah.
They would have made the writing room, and the animation, the promotional thing, a separate video. Like a lot of fucking shows nowadays do these behind the scenes videos of the process of making the show.
Michael Fulakuli did, how they had the voice actor saying how much she liked it, and it was like a little segment. Other series do that, but the issue is, the whole thing is the fact that they're not putting out a show just to put out a show to get their creativity out there. They're pushing out a show just to show. It's kind of like doing what most people always do, is trying to make it seem like this is like the exception that a woman can make a great show too.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and see,
one of the biggest things that people because I don't like Sonic Boom, and there's one instance to where in Sonic Boom, one clip, how they're saying how Amy was saying, this is like they're playing soccer, right?
No, yeah, it's volleyball, and I have actually watched this clip a million times. She's like, will the female break the glass ceiling and finally prove once and for all that women can be just as good as men? And then Knuckles points out, every time you point that out, you're basically saying that it's the exception, that if you were to do it, it would be out of the norm. Same thing here. Like, I don't understand how these people don't understand that they are at the point where they're making it the bigger deal.
Right. And flashback to our Voltron videos.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the queer baiting stuff.
Yep. Oh. We called out the fandom there, because, you still have Shiro as LGBTQ representation. You still have, the possibility of more budding romances between possibly Keith and Shiro. There's age difference aside here, because, let's face it, the fandom fucking ships them. So, there's so much, controversy in this topic, and, sadly, I can already see dislikes outweighing the likes, blah, 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 blah. I don't give a fuck.
Well, it depends on if we get most of the subscribers watching it that already like us, or if we get an algorithm.
I don't give a fuck if you dislike this video.
You knew Crunchyroll knew that the shit was getting backlash, because what did they fucking do as soon as the video came out?
Exactly.
Turn off all comments and turn off their likes and dislikes ratio. You knew these motherfuckers couldn't handle criticism. They fucking knew.
Oh yeah, they knew firsthand that they would be criticized by turning off the comments, the likes, the dislikes, all that shit. I'm not going to do that for this video. I'm not Crunchyroll.
We can handle criticism.
Right. It's not going to be the first fucking dislike we got, and it's not going to be the first time we got called out for bullshit.
Hashtag check that Promise Neverland video while we don't like Promise Neverland.
That was a really good one. Now, so something I'll bring up too is so there's 2 points I want to bring up in this. This next point has 2 sub points. So next point is one of the people working on the show. There is past tweets of her saying something like fucking joking about kill all men, blah blah blah. But the sub point of this, because I'm not a hypocrite, is if those tweets are in the past. And she has changed, she hasn't done that recently, then I don't think we should hold it against her because that's the same thing with James Gunn. You know what I mean? We can't be hypocritical.
I saw that comment on the actual, one of the videos.
Because one of the things I will always agree with or believe in is not fucking holding everyone to every little thing they've said in the past.
The interesting thing about the James Gunn situation, and
let's not sidetrack too much as long as it's one sentence.
Yeah, like the interesting part about that is that was tweets from when he was working with Trauma. Trauma is known for being completely batshit crazy. If you've watched any of their videos, like Achievement Hunter does theater mode, and they've watched some of their videos, I'm like, wow, this got made.
And so we have to think about the context. I'm not sure what context she may have said that in. If she meant it, it was back, I believe it was in 2015 that those tweets are there. What I will take from that is that she's very clearly one of those, like at least at one point in her life, if it wasn't a joke, she was one of those crazy kill all men type feminists. I'm hoping that she's reformed since then. I did take a look at her Twitter for the last month or so. I was scrolling through. It seemed to be mostly normal shit for the most part. So I mean, maybe she's
how much of her Twitter is corporatized now.
Yeah, but either way, I'm not here to make personal attacks on people. My big thing is just I want people to recognize that here's the loop we're going to constantly be in, and this is I've told you guys this off screen, but I'm going to tell them to the people here as well. The loop I find that we're in now is that a lot of feminists, it's not like they're twirling a metaphorical evil mustache and trying to go out here and be an asshole.
Yes, I see. Men are all evil.
Right, so the sad part is, like most, crazy, radical, cultish organizations, they believe what they are saying. They believe what they're thinking, right? So they literally think that the things they say. They think men are evil. They think all that shit, right? And I'm talking about the radical ones. Hold on, please let me finish what I'm saying. So when the sad part that you see is that when we push back on things like this, right? Like, hey, this seems a bit extreme, right? Mm-hmm. They won't see that as a legitimate, maybe they have some legitimate criticism. Maybe they actually have, some, hey, it's not like, no, they're just going to immediately see that's more sexism. They just must hate all women, right? So you're going to get into this constant loop of we push back on those stupid things. They're going to think we're being sexist, so they push back harder. And then we push back harder. And then they push back harder. And this is just how all war ever starts. I don't mean literal war, but, just like conflict between people. Misunderstandings creating this big thing, right? So it's
not that different from actual war either.
Oh, yeah.
It's a power vacuum constantly by this side pushing, this side pushing, and it just goes back and back and back until we're nuking each other.
But my main point is that you have to stop this cycle of hatred and getting back at each other, because what ends up happening is it is undeniable that for the vast history of mankind, women were oppressed and pushed down and fucked up. You know what I mean? And it was fucked up. But what happens is
pendulum.
Yeah, when you're oppressed for that long, it comes back, and then when those oppressed people get power, unless they're very strong, psychologically, they're going to want to push back harder and harder. They're not going to want to stop at equal. They're going to want to have their time to push down.
But Red, what about those men that have been pushed down, by the radical women,
now it's happening.
Exactly.
That's the point I'm making. So now they're pushing down, right? And it's going to go back and forth. You see this in history. Look at World War I. World War I ended with every fucking country saying, "Lol, Germany, get fucked. You got to pay all this fucking money for all these damages," right?
And then that caused World War II.
And then that fucked their economy up, allowed for the rise of Hitler, because Hitler came in with this message of, they fucked us over. Now, and you see it now with Muslim.
Are you equating feminists to Hitler, Red?
I'll do whatever the fuck I want. I'm making a metaphor, and if they can't see that, they can leave. I'd like to finish it as well. So you see this now with the radicalization of Muslim terrorists, right? Mm-hmm. The radical side. I want to be very clear. I'm saying radical Muslim terrorists. You see this here where we will reject them at the border, you know what I mean? Like Trump's Muslim ban. what that will cause immediately is
more radical Muslims.
Because it's hatred, right? Where instead of love will defeat most things. Believe it's corny but true. So like when
the power of friendship.
Because then they use that they use us pushing them down and shit like that to say, look, they're pushing you down. You got to fight back. So this is the loop that I find that we're in.
I'm still swinging my Yui necklace, by the way.
This is the loop that I find that we're constantly in. Is that it's going to be this constant back and forth because no one can just arrive at, okay, now we're equal. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, no one is, everyone wants, like, revenge culture is I don't really say, oh God, sorry for saying. Revenge is a big part of human things, and it's, the cycle of hatred will never end because of human emotion. Because I said this before in another video, it's like emotions are one of the greatest weaknesses and strengths of humans.
Very true.
And the one thing that people don't really understand is the fact that it's the way.
Oh.
Sorry about that. But the way it works is that the way hatred is one of those things where one emotion can lead to another, and that automatically leads to hatred. You know, like if to say like you know, love can lead to hatred because the person you love rejected you, and that can bring out the rage in you. You know, like happiness could lead to sadness because you're so happy, and then just that something that could break the happiness can lead to sadness. You know, so it's the cycle of hatred always goes back to this type of emotions these mixed emotions that human beings have. And the thing that kind of gets me about this whole thing is the fact that there's really like no need to push like agendas, like because the videos that I've seen, it's like they're trying to make it seem like women can be writers. Like if you look at like we take the anime side for a second. If you look at all of some of the most successful manga in history are written by women. Fullmetal Alchemist, Sailor Moon. Like there's so many.
Hitman.
Yeah, Hitman Reborn. Like so many. There's a lot of women writers out there that have made their stay in history. Like the Fullmetal Alchemist author has about like 3 series, and they're all successful. You know, so it's just it's baffling to me that they try to make it seem like women can't write, women need to have this handicap. But I'm like, but even in Japan, like because one of the biggest things that people are talking about that High Sugar Spice, it doesn't even look like an anime. It looks like a cartoon, which is fine. You know, it could be a cartoon that has like, you know, that's inspired by anime.
Like Avatar: Last Airbender.
But the whole point of it is like, okay, well, how can you gloat and try to imply that women is like a big step up for women because whole woman crew writing this whole thing? But I'm like, you're forgetting the fact that what you're basing your success off of is essentially a bunch of really well talented women who have basically made the floor for you.
Mm-hmm. Like, and they did it without fucking agenda pushing. They didn't come out and say, "Look at me, I'm a woman writing a manga." Like they just did it because like it shouldn't have to be said.
Yeah, like Rinri wasn't coming out to Edward saying, "Yeah, I'm a woman. I'm stronger than you. I don't need your help, Edward." Like no, like because that's not how it works. Okay, like it's literally. There's no agenda pushing. They did what they loved. They love writing. They love drawing manga. They love, writing comics, telling the story. So they didn't push no agenda. They went out and did it. Mm-hmm. That's one. You don't have to push up this agenda. And me personally, I am gonna watch High Guardian Spice.
Yeah, so we'll watch. We might fucking review it.
I'm gonna be the
first one. If
it's
it's better than fucking what's it, Nomad in Nowhere?
It probably will be. Honestly, there's a lot more fucking budget going to it.
Yeah, if it's better than Nomad in Nowhere, we might review it, and we'll shit on it if it's shit. We'll praise it if it's good.
Do you mind if I jump in, Thurman?
Yeah,
so here's the shows that I respect are shows that show women like naturally. So like I've always really respected the first season or 2 of RWBY. I always thought that was such a well done way to do it. So like you have the main 4 characters are all women, but never once is there like a moment where they're like girl power or oh my god we couldn't do, we can do this thing that meant never, right? They're just girls, and and all of them, they're not written as girls. They're not written as their personality is that they're a woman. All of them have their own personalities, like they're real goddamn people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like
no normal woman is like, my entire character is that I'm a woman and I have a vagina.
Yeah, and this happens a lot, and I'll call it out. There's plenty of fucking shows where the woman is written to be the woman. Like, they're emotional, they're there for support and love, and, you know, like, but like,
Angels of Death.
Yeah, I love Ruby so much because all of especially the main characters, they all have a legit personality that you could take and put on a guy or whatever gender, whatever, you know, like, whatever, you know,
whatever identity you want to put on them.
You could put those personalities on any of those and it would still work. You know what I mean? Because there's no personality that's specific to any gender.
Fucking Ruby could be a trans man and it would work perfectly.
Yeah, and so my thing is, this is what I'm going to be curious about. When this show comes out, is it going to be Steven Universe style where it's naturally put in there and not forced? Or is it going to be very, you know, like, we're girls, or like, is there gonna be a character that's a man, like, you can't do it because you're girls? Yeah, we can't. Like, if they do that shit, I'm gonna die. Like, that will just confirm all of the suspicions.
Okay.
But here's my biggest point. Out of everything here, this series is on a streaming service.
Oh God, that's your biggest point, really?
This is honest.
I know where this is going.
You're preaching progressive shit when you have a series like How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, where the camera pans out of the tits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Crunchyroll always gets shit for their shitty censoring.
So how can you preach progressive politics with this?
You know, my thing is, I think as long as there's equal pandering to different sexes, that's fine. So, like, as long as there's a bunch of yaoi shit where there's like a bunch of muscly men and they're like,
Yuri on Ice wins the fucking entire Crunchyroll Award.
The art reminds me a bit of like Steven Universe mixed with some RPG game that I used to play. I don't know, but the art doesn't look bad, you know.
No, I like the art style. Anyway, should we wrap it up? Because I don't want to extend this video any longer than it has to be. I've gotten everything I want to say out. Any final comments from you, Jay?
So,
don't derail the video.
So, one of my issues is the fact that it's
and then you have to.
the way, like, first of all, my biggest issue is we didn't get literally no information about the show itself.
Ding!
Literally. Two, I'm gonna be one of those people. No, I'm not going to fucking judge it just because they're women. I'm going to judge it based off of how well they can write a good story, how they can write good characters.
If the characters feel realistic and they aren't just, like, there to push an agenda.
Yeah, so that's one of my biggest things because we're definitely going to review this shit. I'm going to watch it just to see. I'm going to give it a chance. Maybe all our worries are for nothing. Maybe they.
I hope so.
So Thurman, how many awards do you think this will win at the Crunchyroll Awards?
If it wins any, it will be even more proven that Crunchyroll.
Well, if it wins some and it's good, we have to see. I'm never gonna wish failure upon anyone. That's a cunty move to do.
Yeah, neither.
I want it to be good, and I want them to prove us wrong.
I don't want it to suck. But the fact that we got no information about it, the fact that it's clearly agenda-driven, and the fact that they could have made 2 different promotional videos and there not be any of this fucking backlash whatsoever. Here's a trailer for the actual show and its merits. And here's behind the scenes of our all-female writer room.
Which still, I would find a little annoying, even if it was in a second video. But yes, it'd be less backlash.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the Twitter video, broke it down really well. Like, if they would have shown, the animation style and the fact that, we're all female here, we're doing all this because we're wanting to make our own show, blah, 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 blah. There would have been a hell of a lot less backlash if not, any, pull the fully cooling method, fucking make your show carry its own goddamn merits. Do not sit there and use a trailer to push an agenda and not actually promote a goddamn show.
So, here's my final comment, and then I do think we should end the video before it just we're getting into repeating myself. But my final thing is, hey, groups that are oppressed, don't respond to that oppression by oppressing. I don't understand why that's so hard to understand. Why is it that... So you're telling me, right? Let me get this straight, because I'm pretty sure I've heard stories like this before, right? A woman goes in, tries to get a job. They get rejected. A man goes in, maybe less qualified than her, maybe the same qualified as her, gets the job. That's fucked up, right? Agreed, it is. So how is it okay for you to, because I guarantee you did, turn away men or not even consider them. You did the same thing that you would have complained about, that you have complained about. You walking into an office and not getting a job that a man gets immediately. That is literally what you have chosen to do. So instead of, being the better person, you say, all right, let's just do it back to them. Let's just literally all you've done is lower yourself to the people that you claim to be so against. Congratulations.
You just became the thing you hate.
Yep. So, to me, I'm done with that. Peace.
Yep. Peace.
Peace.